Good afternoon. I'm Ollie Nolan-Davies with the Mersey News Live Roundup. Liverpool's Ukrainian community has stressed the need to ignore Vladimir Putin's threats in the wake of the president's address to the Russian people. Putin has accused the West of transforming a local conflict into a global confrontation. But campaigners here on Merseyside say it's vital that we continue to send aid and arms to the stricken nation. Kira Bolton has more.
Today, Putin addressed the people of his country to discuss the state of the nation. Friday marks the one-year anniversary since Russia invaded Ukraine, and in the speech, he blamed NATO and the West for starting the war.
Я хочу это повторить. Это они развязали войну, а мы использовали силу и используем, чтобы ее остановить.
Over the last few weeks, tensions have risen between Putin and the West, with the Russian leader repeatedly threatening his use of nuclear warheads. Peter Cribley escaped Russia with his partner Katia in March 2022 and has been urging the West to come to Ukraine's aid and ignore the nuclear threats.
So when we say, what does Putin believe? I mean, the point is moot. He's killing people anyway. But there are two aspects to that kind of statement. One is to demonstrate to the public and to make a propaganda statement. But there is a very real sense within Russian culture that Ukraine was always Russian and they shouldn't have the right to self-determination. And in fact, that the idea of Ukrainian independence is laughable.
Ukraine continues to suffer from repeated missile strikes and heavy losses to their armed forces.
Russia clearly kind of marched in with, in the first place with well over 100,000 troops. And I mean, that was a year ago, but in actual fact, the war's gone on for longer than that. I was in Lviv about 2 weeks ago. So you have sporadic sort of air raid sirens and monuments wrapped up and buildings sort of were sandbagged and things. It's quite surreal to walk through a city in that situation. But the city is still very much, behaving as normal so far as work and things are concerned, but is constantly hit with power cuts. So all you can hear is generators.
I'm Kira Bolton for Mersey News Live.
Merseyside Police have put together a team to identify those involved in violent protests outside a hotel in Knowsley housing asylum seekers. The force's dispersal order was lifted on Sunday, just hours after the first of several planned rallies in support of the refugee crisis. Amongst the speakers was former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. Natalia Luke has more.
Say it loud, say it clear. Refugees are welcome here.
Hundreds of people in Liverpool came together at St George's Hall chanting this message that the city welcomes those in need. Guests such as Stand Up to Racism's co-convener Wayman Bennett came to speak out about the recent violence against refugees.
Because when the young people were chanting outside that hotel, they chanted something. They said, "We've got nothing." I think that's the truth. But I tell you what, don't blame the people inside. The people to blame are inside number 10.
Across from the demonstration were 10 far-right members, some of whom allegedly took place in the Knowsley attacks. The main guest of the demonstration was former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, who united the city against the violence at the hotel.
If you allow the far right to gain any traction, then what happens is that blame culture gets worse and worse. The racism of our society gets worse and worse. So we're here today to give a message that we will not compromise with the far right. We won't deal with the far right. We don't accept their arguments. The only argument we accept is one of unity of peoples in work, out of work, in housing, homeless, refugees, asylum seekers, or any other group within our society.
The successful rally called for more action in community groups, which will hopefully prevent future violence and help refugees feel more welcome when fleeing to Merseyside. Natalia Luke, Mersey News Live, Liverpool.
Bootle's MP Peter Dowd will today formally give Parliament the results of the world's biggest trial of a 4-day working week. 61 companies, including 2 from Merseyside, have taken part in the pilot scheme to cut employees' hours by 20%, as campaigners urge the government to give UK workers a 32-hour week. Unsurprisingly, it's a plan that has gone down well on the streets of Liverpool.
It's not enough time to relax, you need that extra day. Everyone gets a job as well, more jobs, why not?
I think since lockdown and we've seen the benefits of working from home and things, I think it's time to start exploring other options.
People are more motivated then for going in knowing they have an extra day off, more productive, yeah.
But employment lawyer Gemma Dale says there's a danger cramming a 5-day week into 4 could cause staff burnout.
One thing we know is that flexible forms of work can actually lead to something called work intensification. So people end up just working more intensely, or they work longer hours. And of course that has an impact on health, on well-being, on things like stress or burnout risk. So I think it can be a really positive thing, but organisations need to be very, very careful in that implementation phase if they want to get the benefits from it as well.
Industrial strike action has been paused by lecturers at Liverpool universities. Academic staff at LJMU had refused to work on a number of days during the past 3 weeks, but after a breakthrough in the talks, the union, the UCU, has called off strikes planned for early March. Liverpool's music scene has lost one of its most influential venues. Arts Club had long been an essential springboard for local acts to showcase their talent. The venue's doors have remained closed since the turn of the year, with operators, Academy Music Group, reportedly ceasing their involvement with the club. With no news forthcoming as to what comes next, things are starting to look bleak. Matthew Markey has more.
One of Liverpool's most popular live music venues, Arts Club, closed its doors in December and now faces an uncertain future. Situated on Seal Street in the heart of the city, Arts Club had been a mainstay in the local music scene for decades. The club can trace its origins back to the 1800s and has existed under several names through the years, such as the Mask, the Barfly and the East Village Arts Club. Since 2016, the venue had been operated by Academy Music Group, yet with the company now ceasing their involvement, it is unclear what happens next. Evan Tate's band, Bandit, was the last act to play the Arts Club loft prior to its closure.
It was such a good sort of like central hub for everyone to come, and you saw like these big bands, saw the smaller bands like we were at the time. Yeah, it's very important, and it's a shame to see venues left, right and centre like this going, unfortunately.
As well as hosting numerous nightclub events, Arts Club provided a vital platform for bands to showcase their talent and grow. The Cheap Thrills are one such example of a successful Liverpool band to have played the club and recently provided the soundtrack to an official Liverpool FC kit launch. The band emphasised the need for venues such as Arts Club to act as stepping stones as groups gradually increase the size of their audience.
If we lose a venue like this, as I say, there's not going to be many of those middle ground venues to where you can play the likes of the O2 Academy or the Echo Arenas in the city. You need venues where, not just the small ones, you need them middle ground ones where you can really build your fan base and your following.
The special thing about this, it was a unique setting, but also because of the size, it was good quality sound and it was a nice size venue.
The Sway are another Scouse outfit to praise the importance of Arts Club in their career so far.
It's perfect for bands because then you can see your trajectory of where you're going. Like, you'll play the upstage, it'll go well, like we did just before COVID hit with one of our single releases, and then everyone's like, wow, it's amazing. So after the back of a good gig in a local venue, it's like gives you the belief to actually go on and do like more gigs, bigger gigs, better gigs. And places like this, it's, without them, you've got bands that will have to play like in the O2 Academy, which might be 400, but then like where do you go after that?
The group also went on to suggest the venue's charm comes from its independent origins.
The O2 was always sort of like, everyone knows it's a big massive company and that, but the Arts Club always sort of felt like an independent sort of like community venue, you know what I mean?
There is no news as to whether any talks are underway to reopen Arts Club at present, and so for the time being, the stages within will remain empty. Matthew Markey, Mersey News Live.
But as one venue closes, another looks ahead to a brighter future. The University of Liverpool's Yoko Ono Lennon Centre is preparing for the first anniversary of its auditorium, with a special tribute to the Beatles.
The Yoko Ono Lennon Centre in Liverpool will be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of its auditorium next month. The Tongue Auditorium opened in March last year and has played host to artists across jazz, pop and experimental music. They will be celebrating on March 25th with a performance from Sarah Jane Morris and the Solace String Quartet, with a reinvention of Beatles songs including When I'm 64, just in time for Sarah Jane's 64th birthday.
You hear, because it's so naked, you hear how great the lyrics were and how beautiful the melodies were. but you hear it in a different way because it's almost like I'm the actress singing it. But anyway, I rang Richard and they were looking for something to be their first year anniversary. So of course it's the Yoko Ono Centre. And here I am with a project of the Beatles with a string quartet and a love of Liverpool. So it just all fell into place that it would be the 5th date of a 6-date tour that I planned.
A St Helens dog owner has set up a GoFundMe page to pay for surgery for her pet Patterdale Terrier. 6-month-old Blaze broke both her knees when she jumped off the couch to greet her owner. Vets say without the surgery to pin them back in place, the puppy will be left deformed. So far, £350 of the £1,000 target has been raised. And finally, eggs, flour and milk at the ready. Pancake Day has crept up on us this year, and with it, the Liverpool Pancake Race. The event, which started 20 years ago, pits chefs from the city's hotels and restaurants against each other to compete for glory in the grounds of the Liverpool Parish Church. Brandon Sutton has more.
Liverpool's annual pancake race cracked on a pace in St Nicholas's Church Gardens. The hotly contested, or should we say lukewarm, event saw the city's top chefs hoping to knock last year's winner off his stride.
I'm not sure how much religion there is in pancake racing these days, but it does remind us that something is happening, and what happens in the church is we mark the seasons through the rhythm of the year. So Lent starts tomorrow, and just as we mark the seasons in so many other ways, I mean, it's a lovely day today and feels different from even a week ago. So in the church's year, the rhythm moves on. Lent is a time of preparation. It's a time when we begin to think about Easter.
Racers had to flip their pancake whilst running 2 laps of the gardens. The winner gets their name on the pan as part of a 20-year tradition. Alex Hopkins was crowned the winner for the 2nd year running and claimed his winning streak is because of a secret recipe.
I've got a special aerodynamic race recipe. So this isn't an eating pancake, this is very much a racing pancake.
Brandon Sutton, Mersey News Live, Liverpool.
That's it from Mersey News Live. For more on these stories, go to website www.merseynewslive.co.uk. Good night.